Thank you. Whether it's romantic love, familial love, you know, mother and son love. And for me, what moved me and pained me the worst was the idea of parental love and how that works with all of the other relationships in our lives, and how in the end, for me, it's the most important love of all, my love between me and my son.
Are different because of the mistakes that they make, and how they function after they make those mistakes is what makes everybody special. I mean, I think my character is incredibly sympathetic and likable for her faults. I mean, yeah, absolutely, I think all the characters are, but I don't recall ever going into any project going, oh, I'm a little tentative playing this character because she's not as likable as I'd like for her to be. First of all, I wanted to work with Paul, and then reading the script and having it not be a girl next door character was a relief, I guess, so to speak. Drawing for that, you know, everybody has mistakes that they make in life. It's just relative to you, who you are and how they impact you. Loved it. Paul and James were all about it. But it wasn't something that I didn't dislike. I looked at this film as an end to my 20s, and so it was like a massive therapy session for myself, and it was really selfishly incredibly gratifying. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I loved doing this movie because I actually felt like I was doing something that I loved again. And I said this in previous interviews, so I don't want to keep restating this, but you go into a film with the director and they make you do a character every which way because they don't trust themselves and they don't trust you, and they want to ultimately do what I call is Frankenstein you together in the edit bay and make a character that they feel comfortable with 6 months later. Paul's the opposite. Paul trusts you and empowers you and gives you this great character to play with, and so then you can live it for a little while and have this like really great therapy session with this character and go through life with her from all the faults and mistakes and experiences that you've had and empower this character with it. And he allowed me to have it, so it was the greatest experience. So did I look forward to it? Maybe, probably in a very sick, demeaning way, but not like necessarily to be physically dragged on the floor.
Right, right.
Second time playing a mom. My first time I played a mom was also with James Franco. We had a blonde child who was blonde and blue eyes in a movie that maybe nobody's seen called Tar, that I think he made for NY. Did you ever see this?
No,
I don't think so.
so.
James and I, yes, he played my husband, but we had a blonde, blue-eyed baby in this movie, so we can disregard that part. This movie, where we had a baby that was feasible, it was really fun and different.
You understood it, you're nudging here, you're nudging there, but there wasn't a lot of nudging going on. It was like they understood. Others, like Moran, would you come to 3 months early? You came to sort of live with gypsies, hang out with them, find out what it's like to work on the streets, you know, and she can speak to that. And Maria, who's an actress I've always wanted to work with. For 10 years now, we've been trying to work together. Is a friend and one of the most talented actresses in cinema today. And you know, you see the two of these guys in a scene together, and it's just you sort of sit back and go, wow, that was kind of cool. I could just sit in my director's chair and just have my cappuccino. You guys want to talk to how you find your characters?
I think that, well, you described it, you're spot on with me. I haven't been back to that. I think you're right.
You and I.
Yeah.
I'm still in Canada.
I didn't notice that you spent 3 months with...
and taught herself Albanian, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, tell us that. So I'm interviewing you. Moran, please tell us about your process.
Well, because for me, I was in a different position. Nobody wanted me for this part, so I had to convince a lot of people that I'm suitable for the role. So I started first researching it from here, from the US, just reading every book and article or music or any documentary that I saw about gypsies. And it was just staying in my head. It was just an idea of the character. And then when Penelope Cruz got pregnant, I said, okay, I'm going to Italy and I'll try to find this character in my bones, in my skin, and lived with them for a period amount of time. Created a daily activity with them. The first thing was begging for money, and that was probably the hardest thing I did because nobody wanted to give me money, and it didn't matter what I was wearing or how nice I was. It was just impossible to come back home with more than €1. So then I started washing cars with these people.
Washing windows, yeah.
Windows, cars, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
No, just windows, because it's another, I wanted to find where she's in the scale of a gypsy clan. If she's in the beginning or she's with an organized family, till I found her position. And all these activities just helped me be confident about how she wouldn't be apologetic for what she's become. And if she needs to take this guy on a journey, she will, because she has to survive. I didn't want to victimize her, because it's easy to read a character like that and be like, oh, she's some poor woman for what she's experienced. And just finding the force of life that Paul really wanted this character to portray was this pride that I think all the characters have a certain amount of pride and humility at the same time.
I mean, as I also told her, just one of the early directions again was like when she first showed up there. I said, okay, if you have hair on your body, let it grow. Any hair you have.
That's what you told me.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. I had like a unibrow. I totally forgot about this.
It's just a direction I give all actors.
That's
but,
right.
But then, Moran moved into a place where there was no electricity, no water, and she didn't bathe. So we didn't hang around.
Okay, enough of the details.
The
hair was annoying. The hair, if you grow up with a little hair, the eyebrows, no, the eyebrows, at a certain point there was just one eyebrow, and I was like, okay, Paul, this is going to be too distracting.
No unibrows.
No, just one little thing.
And with Mila, I thought, I honestly didn't think she could play this role. Because honestly not. We met and she said, because I said, hey, you're too beautiful, and I don't believe that the only job you're going to be able to get is a maid. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. And she said, look, we talked, we had lunch, and she said, and in like 10 minutes, I totally saw what she could bring to that. Is that you want to hide sometimes. You have that shame, and you want to take on you don't want to go if you come from being the actress that even as an actress who got one job in a soap opera once, then working in a storefront is a challenge. And so you want to have a job there, especially because everything that people are talking about with her and her famous husband, they're judging her. So being a maid was kind of perfect. She could hide from the work because no one looks at maids. And so she convinced me of that. And that's so exciting when that happens. It was the same with when Sandy Bullock and something got in the crash and comes out and you go, okay, I've seen her do this. Wow, look at her do that. I would never have thought. And it's the same with Adrian Brody when he was just, I said, no, you're way too much of a ladies' man. I'm sorry. I don't believe you're going to be chasing this woman across the country. And he said, Paul, I'm an actor. And I went, oh yeah, he's a really good one. And then that's so thrilling to watch. And then there's others, like Maria. I didn't know how she was going to do the role, but I knew it was going to be really interesting. And I remember the first thing I shot with her was just I put the camera up outside by the pool and let her step up into close up, and let her step closer. And she took my breath away, just without saying a word. So that's it's wonderful to watch the process and to have actors that make it so easy for you because they find their characters themselves.
Oh, thank you, Paul. But the only reason I did it.
Money?
He offered to pay me in cases of wine.
That's true. Exactly.
So that's what I can do. Besides the brilliant script and the brilliant directing, the brilliant actors, wine.
They did it for love.
And where is it?
It's coming.
This is purely my own take on it, is I will live it for those 20 minutes that I'm on set that I need to live it, but it's called acting for a reason. This is just me. Mind you, there are people that are really close to me that use a very different method that I live with, and that's great. I feel like if I did a good job, I am emotionally drained by the end of the day. I don't want to keep living it. I want a glass of wine, and I want to go to bed. And then I want to have if that is the day that I had. And in this film, every day, I was so emotionally drained by the end of it. I was like, oh Lord Jesus Christ, I just want to go home. I was just tired. You're just tired. So you don't even have the energy to be like, I'm going to keep on going with my depressed character home. You don't even want to. You don't even want to think about it. And then the next day you show up to work and you're like, oh, here we go again. And it's just, but it's great. It's a very selfishly gratifying thing. But for lunch, I was ready to eat lunch and then snap into it. And that's what but I also come from this. I do a lot of homework before I show up to set. Everything done, marked out. My script will have 1,000 words on it that ultimately will never make sense to me 6 months later. And then I show up to set and I forget everything and I disregard it. And then I just go with the flow of things. Because a long time ago with a director who talked so much about muscle memory. And if you just have a muscle memory and you know your character and you know it inside out, then you just show up and you become present. Because then the things change. And then it's like more of like a tango or a dance with your partner on set instead of, then you're just acting against a white wall. If you're gonna come in and this is what I'm gonna do and this is what I have written down and I'm gonna do with this speech pattern and this, you know, then what's the, yeah, then you're done. You're just kind of, you're putting yourself 6 feet under. So that's why I don't do. I show up and then I see what everybody else does and then I chime in. You'll like Paula's really great. I've said it before, a lot of directors love the sound of their own voice and they'll just talk because they can. And Paul's a very passionate director, so when he loves something, he'll scream, and when he hates it, he'll let you know you were shit. Either way, you will know. But you will know. Like, there's no question. There's no, like, there's no, it's so his confidence kind of empowers you to take these horrible risks that sometimes are awful, but in a weird way, they're great because they allow you to be like, well, that was fucking shitty, I'm so sorry. And he's like, that's all right, let's just do it again. But it's the greatest thing to hear versus a director who's like, I don't, yeah, and then you're like, oh my God, well, both of us are now confused, so what are we gonna do? So that being said, when we rehearsed it, it was a very confident rehearsal. Yeah. Like you did it and he was like, that's not working. And you're like, okay, like, fair enough, what should we do next? It was just very like to the point, straightforward. And I think I respond well to that. Yeah, 100%. It's great. Great, great, great.
Don't forget to visit us online on galatv.com. Click like on YouTube page.